And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California. We are getting some cold weather today. Yes, it is raining and cold in the background. I'm sure you can see that. And I heard we're going to get some record cold. It might even snow over the weekend. And I heard it snowed in Malibu yesterday. So that's pretty interesting. Now, first thing I want to point out, we talked about yesterday, the S&P looks like it's breaking down here off of the bullish economic news for the dollar. And what do you know? Dollar target getting hit here. Hit the 105 mark. And the week is about to close. And if we do close anywhere here or higher on the weekly, 105.55, that is the last pretty much wick coming in here. Call it 105.69. And I would be looking for a teleportation up to this box here of peace and prosperity and death and despair. So essentially above this box for the US dollar is going to be death and despair. As long as we stay below this box, it's peace and prosperity. And why is that? When the dollar goes up, risk assets go down. And so we've been talking about it over the past week or two, and I've been kind of talking about it a little bit on the daily time frame, where the dollar kind of rallied up here, and so did Bitcoin, and so did stocks. That was a little our first warning sign that perhaps maybe the correlation is changing. But I did say this: I'm not sold on it yet. And what do we need? 3 times to confirm a trend. And as far as I'm concerned, it has not confirmed yet that the dollar going up, risk assets going down narrative has changed. And let's just check in on gold. Well, we're heading down to our target. We've been calling this one out since the bearish divergence confirmed on the weekly time frame about 3 weeks ago for the gold price to come down to this region. And so as long as the dollar's continuing to the upside, I'd expect more of the same for gold. And silver already dipping its nose, dipping its toes into the green box of peace and prosperity or death and despair. And for this one, it's death and despair below this box, peace and prosperity as long as we stay above there. Now, what else do I want to point out for all you silver bulls out there? Silver bulls are, well, there's my forecast for the S&P, right? Just kidding. Again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not take that as advice. I want to be a little more direct in saying that. And let's jump into some of the economic data before we get into Bitcoin price action and what to expect as we are breaking down at the moment. And in about 2 minutes, so on stream, we're going to get new home sales. That'll be cool. And Michigan consumer sentiment. Now, why is this report so important? A higher than expected figure should be bullish for the dollar, while a lower than expected figure should be negative for the dollar. And I'll just tell you right now ahead of time, I'm gonna rub my crystal ball. Just kidding. I don't have any crystal balls here. But I will say this. My expectation is consumer sentiment is pretty high right now. Why? Stocks are up, relatively speaking. Well, not relative. Maybe I take that back. They were up. The Dow was up, and we've been saying this. Look, if we close the day below 32.55 on the Dow, very likely going to come back down to this purple 200, and you better pray and hope we hold it there. You better pray and hope that we hold it there. Yeah, so what news already hit at 5:30 a.m.? And I was wrong yesterday. I don't know why it didn't show up, but the high importance numbers here. So we still were, personal income month over month for January was still up. Lower than expectation. That was the one point for the bulls on Bitcoin, at least, in stocks. But look at all this green here. All of this bullish for the US dollar. No wonder the dollar is rallying up to the moon. And Personal spending was higher than expected, much higher, and much higher than the previous month, 1.8%. So I don't know how people are spending more in January. They're spending more in January than they did in December. What kind of indicator is that? Everybody got paid too much. Bonuses were out. And then core PCE year over year came in at 4.7%, higher than the 4.3% expectation. And core PCE price index month over month came out higher than expected, 0.6%, 0.4%. So as the Kobisi letter was alluding to yesterday, they are very likely to revise those January inflation numbers. And again, the PCE inflation is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, hit 5.4% above expectations of 5, and core PCE inflation is now at 4.7. So again, this coming in today, core PCE year over year at 4.7%, higher than the previous year over year. So that's big for January, and not exactly getting off to the right start here. So what else just came out? Just on the board, new home sales. Wow, the expectation was 0.4%. It was 7.2. Big miss there. And here, new home sales for January. So month over month was 7.2% higher. New home sales, 0.62 million, 0.67 million. So higher than the previous month. Not looking good. Oh, and then I guess, no, current conditions, inflation expectations are down. I guess that was bearish for the dollar for whatever reason, but consumer sentiment is up and consumer expectations up. So we'll see how Fed Jefferson, I wonder if we can get that meeting. I tried to do a stream yesterday with the news in the background. It didn't quite work out. Kudos to all the people that can figure this technology stuff out. Oh, and look at this. Blur is now live. Everybody's able to claim some care package. Holders and creators are also eligible for the airdrop. You have 24 hours to claim your Blur. That would be cool. I want to claim some Blur tokens. I'm going to connect my wallet here soon. See if I can't get a little bit of Blur. All right. Moving on in. Oh, Dow coming down. Volatility's on the floor. On the weekly, all we want to do is see expansion above 25%. And this is going to get going down quick. And we said, hey, biggest liquidity grab in history. Still expecting some more downside displeasures. I've been saying it all along. Been telling the clients, look, don't get too bullish because guess what? Joe Biden did not fix inflation. Jerome Powell is not fixing inflation. And here was the best quote of the day, right? Kobisi letter. Let's see. I just read it earlier. They're posting a bunch of stuff. Okay, first, here it is. First, the Fed said inflation isn't a problem, then hit a 40-year high. Then the Fed said inflation is transitory, and it's been above 5% for 20 straight months. Now the Fed said disinflation began and PCE inflation is rising again. Is this the most wrong Fed of all time? I would say it is the biggest lying Fed that is of all time. And this is the greatest liquidity grab in history. Again, they are about to, I think they're going to dump it in people's faces. Hey, I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just showing you what I see in the charts. The last chance would be to bounce off of this trend line, right? But if we break back down here, and here's a clear indicator, guys, that this thing's going to come down hard and strong is any kind of a closure on the Dow, which has been leading the markets to the upside and now to the downside. NASDAQ actually is probably leading us down. So we hit the target there on the NASDAQ, and now, again, line in the sand for the NASDAQ. If we're more conservative, back below the 618 where the bull traps and the bear traps come in, trapping those bulls and bears, what are we going to do here? Trapping the bulls and bears, and yeah, if the NASDAQ comes back down below this level at 11,588, not going to look pretty there. And we already got the measure move on this one. We called this one out yesterday, saying, hey, any kind of a daily closure, which depends on how you draw it, right? If you use candle bodies or wicks. I think we had it drawn out with wicks yesterday, saying, hey, look, any kind of a daily closure below this pivot, this wick right here, very, very likely this one comes down to doggy town really, really quick. And I imagine some of these coins are going to be on the receiving end. Hey guys, I do want to make an announcement. You can join our free Discord, and we are posting up some live trade setups in there for some of you people who want to start trading some altcoins. Again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but we're just talking about magic internet money and having a little fun. And by the way, I think Bitcoin is probably the most important asset for you to have in your portfolio, 100%. It is part of the transformation of the financial world. And all you got to do is get a little educate to find out why. Put in your 1,000 hours and then you'll figure it out. Now, it takes maybe 5-10 hours of research and study, and you'll begin to see why Bitcoin is going to pretty much eat the whole earth when it comes to finances. And so what am I seeing here? Volatility is expanding off the lows. Momentum's to the downside. Bearish divergence playing out. And again, what is bearish divergence? Well, from this pivot right here, you can see this last little high right here. Yep. Even on a wick basis. So that'll be multiple drives. I mean, we're talking about, and we did say, hey, it was confirmed back there with that closure below right here. I mean, it was all but confirmed. Call it, it's not hindsight. This is bearish divergence, classic bearish divergence, where price is making lower highs all the way through from this pivot. We never had a closing or even a wick higher than this wick. You can see how this lines up perfectly. And the S&P, we've been saying more likely than not, I mean, you saw that big green line I had drawn up there. Ultimately, I think that's what happens over the next 6 to 9 months. If you've been following our channel for some time, I've been saying the same thing for a very long time. Blood in the streets. It's coming. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I would really say it's more like 1, right? This is a higher high in RSI, lower high in price. And again, this is measuring the relative strength, right? That's the RSI, relative strength index. And when you see price is going lower, but the RSI is going higher, it's an indicator that the relative strength is waning. And so, call this a complex high. So that's 2 drives. And then call this a complex high right here. I mean, this is technically 1, 2, a high. I'm just going to draw them out, right? The clear highs, clear stop and reverse. 1. I mean, you could call that 2, 3, 4, 5. So to me, call it 5 drives, but really, this thing's coming down hard, and that economic news that just hit is bad for the markets. It's bullish for the dollar, bearish for all risk-on assets, and just reminds me, let's check out some of the other currencies really quick. We haven't checked in on our currencies in a while. The Brazilian real. You know, all my things got mixed up here, and I haven't taken the time to put them all back in place. All right, that's what I wanted, bond yields. When bond yields are skyrocketing, guess what it is? Bad for stocks. The week is going to closes anywhere here or higher, and let's just put the target out there. Let's put it out there so everybody has a little bit of, look at that. Wow. So where could these things go? Could you imagine? Let's just say, yeah, that does line up pretty nicely with 6% right there. 6% on the 2-year. I think that's reasonable if the 30-year is at 4% right now. 3.9 on the 30-year. So right now, you're getting paid more to put your money in U.S. Treasury bonds for 2 years than you are for 30 years? Does that make sense? Why would you put your money for 30 years at 3.9% when you could get it for 2? That is a bit shocking. And so where does that line up with? Yeah, that's where it lines up with on the weekly time frame. And yeah, I would say it would be a little more accurate. Let's bring this guy down. 5.82 on the 2-year. That would be my forecast, sir. Put that one down on your map. 10-year. Look at the 10-year. So where's mortgage rates going to go? Where are those mortgage rates going to go? And look, volatility is expanding from the lowest level since we got the last major move, which, to be fair, was down. But this one is up. Putting in a bit of a double bottom there. Holding this trend line all the way through, guys. Hidden bullish divergence coming back from this pivot, 3 drives, and at a minimum, I'm looking for a shot to the top side of the range, minimum. If that breaks on the 10-year, if that breaks, when it breaks, because we know those bond yields are going higher. Because who wants to risk all their money in the stock market right now when you know the leader of the free world has lost his mind? You see him fall. I feel bad. Let's pray for Joe Biden. That's all I'm going to say. Pray for Joe Biden. He needs some prayer. And we all need some prayer too, because he is the leader of our country right now. Okay, 30-year target. Wow, 30 years already blasted through this high. Blasted through this high. I mean, the next level up, guys, is right here. For the 30-year. How is the 30-year beat? Does it make sense to you? $4.8, and that does line up, you know. Eventually that 2-year should be higher than, lower than the 30-year. So anyways, I don't know. I'm just giving you what I see in the charts here. So next target, 4.8. And in fact, you could probably extend that just slightly. If we do break the weekly above 4.39, which, to be fair, probably not going to break this week, but volatility is just beginning to expand. So if we regain the exponential here on the 30-year, US 30, I'd expect that 5% target to get hit. Right on the money, right on the money. All right, 19 minutes into this video. Hope I'm not boring you guys too much, but I did want to check in on some of those other currencies. Where are my currencies? They should be pink. USD Brazil. Okay, there's the Japanese yen. I'm going to start realigning my chart. I like to get them all masterfully lined up. Let's check in on total market cap. This is for all the cryptos here. And getting a strong rejection off the green 55, similar to Bitcoin. So we're going to get to Bitcoin now. Okay, British pound. Sorry, I'm all over the place today, but hey, it's all for your own good. I hope you guys play it on fast forward. You know, you can hit the 1.5 times speed button and get through all my boring commentaries in about 15 minutes instead of 30. So again, as these currencies come down, and the Brazilian real has been about different. You know, it's been sideways here for some time. Japanese yen getting hammered. Another sign that the dollar's about to rise again. Watch out. And if the Japanese yen, which this is a big player in the currency markets, if we start to get below this region on the Japanese yen, I'm looking for some serious downside displeasures. And the Japanese yen not looking so hot at the moment. You know, rallied right up to this pivot almost. Close enough is close enough. Got rejected. Big power play down. Volatility is declining. So, mean reversion bounce in play. You know, we'll see how that plays out. Theta, let's check in on this guy. Theta having a little rally today. Theta. You know, again, if Bitcoin, you know, again, whatever Bitcoin does, altcoins are going to do more. And yeah, it's that key decision point here, I would say, for Mr. Theta. Going all the way back from here, coming in all these trend lines. You close above, good. If you close below, bad. Look at that. Look how we're just sitting on the edge of prosperity and happiness and a ride up to the green 55, or many downside displeasures. Sandbox getting slammed. Didn't quite make it to the green 55. That's why it's good to have that risk management in. And Matic taking it on the chin again today. Looks like it's heading down to the green 55 on the daily. Stokes are down. Bearish divergence all the way through. 1, 2, 3 drives. Oh, that would have been a nice short. I have to say I wasn't in on it. And particularly the setup I've been looking at is this one, Mr. Render. Render, which was on a tear. Having a hard time. I mean, that's what's bad about shorting some of the stronger altcoins, is that sometimes they're stubborn to go down, right? Stubborn to go down. And this was the current trade setup we were looking at. A nice little short on Render. Yeah, you know, entry, exit, take profit. I might actually move it down a little bit, maybe to this level right here. But kind of an odd formation here. And again, jump in our Discord, check out some of the trades we're going to post live. Not live, but just different trade setups, somewhere you can ask questions. Your fellow Bitcoin advisors will be in there answering some of the good questions that we do have. And yeah, there's a lot to learn in cryptocurrency land. So why not have a group of fellow believers that you can surround yourself with and answer questions about, you know, these extremely volatile markets. And all right, let's get into Bitcoin. I've been holding it back. Bitcoin dominance popping up here, showing, you know, altcoins probably going to take it on the chin, but getting rejected from this level, the midline. We had this setup here saying, you know, yeah, so Bitcoin dominance goes down, well, altcoins can party, and Bitcoin dominance goes up, well, altcoins probably going to take it on the chin, at least in their Satoshi pairing. We checked in on gold, silver, platinum. Uh-oh, this is starting to worry me. Platinum, this was the trade setup, you know, risk management right here. Entry, exit. You know, might want to be rethinking that one as volatility is continuing to expand. We're in the critical zone, but the RSI is not in the oversold territory. And again, why understand what TA is? Well, the last time that palladium dipped in the oversold territory right here, let's see. Let's just mark it off. So we'll define that as anywhere below 21 percentile, right? Let's see, how many times in platinum's history have we gotten down there? 21 times. So let's mark it off here. And a little basic statistics and probabilities here for you guys to understand. This is the oversold area on the RSI. Typically, I wait for it to, in Bitcoin land, you want to wait for a 12 or a 10 read, something like that. This is the weekly time frame. So as you can see in Palladium futures history, it's only happened a handful of times here. So I'm going to put the lock on and see if I can mark all these times. No, I don't have time to do this right now. I'll just show you two where it got down deep, right? 1, 2. I don't know what I did there. So 3 times we dipped down to a very critical level in Palladium's history. That one didn't work out. Obviously, price went down a bit more. This one worked out nice. That was 124% gainer, not bad. This one worked out really nice. 400% gainer, not bad. And we're not quite there yet, so maybe time to hold off on this one. Anyways, Palladium, I do think is probably a better opportunity than silver or gold at the moment. Now, that can change real quick if we get below 1240. All right, I'm going to bring it back to Bitcoin, Bitcoin. That's what we've been talking about. We said yesterday, 4-hour range. If we break below here, that will initiate a nice little sweep to the downside, probably to this trend line. And this is the big trend line to hold here, I think, on the daily time frame. Yes, indeed. This is the area that needs to hold. You got your golden cross. As long as this area holds, generally up and to the right would be my guess. However, any kind of a daily closure today below this 23.4, and I would be looking for a bit of a kick downstairs. And yeah, let's just take it hour by hour. So 4-hour closure below there, and target is going to be at 22.5. Okay, if we lose the 22.5 region, next target down, boom, 20,788. If we lose that region, next target down. And as you can see, the Fibonacci retracement tool lining up perfectly with all these lines. This is what you want to see, symmetry, right? You've got the 1618 fib there, the 2618 fib there, the 3618, and the 4236. That's where price really gets volatile. And that's where I'd expect a bounce, and that's right in line with this area right here. Definitely would get a bounce if something catastrophic happened. I don't think it happens in a day or a week, but it could, and moves. What is it? The stairs up, the elevator down, right? And that's why we like the downside moves. They're quick and swift to the downside. And the way the stock market is dumping it out right now, what's the route of the most pain here? I'd say one more test here. Maybe test the 618, back up to the 236, and then dump it down. So something like this, which, I was going to say, as long as Bitcoin held up, right? Boom, boom, maybe one more time, and then dump it down. That coming into March or May, as they're going to be raising rates again. And who knows, we could get that 50% rate hike. And that would surprise the market, something unexpected. All right, we're 30 minutes in this video. We talked about stocks. We talked about Bitcoin. We talked about gold and silver. We talked about currencies. We touched on some metaverse coins. We talked about render. Oh, and this was the 5-day setup I was looking at here. Just a move down to this 9 exponential, front running at about 147. As we ticked below this guy on the 5-day, clear giveaway that, downside displeasures were on their way. And if we start to see the BBWP get a negative slope on the next 5-day tick, which is coming up in 8:35, 8 hours, 34 minutes, that'd be bad. Last thing I want to mention here is the weekly silks are going to cross down today below 25,097. So, not good. If we cross down from this high level, volatility is still pointed up. We just got to see that region hold. So maybe we consolidate, and if we do consolidate in this area, I'm not totally sold that, the market's going to just tumble to the floor as of yet. PC inflation going to the moon. Any other good comments? Now, Justin, odds of a 50 basis point, this was 2 minutes ago. Odds of a 50 basis point rate hike in March hit a fresh high of 36%. Prior to this morning's PCE inflation report, it was at 24%. 3 weeks ago, the odds of a 50 basis point rate hike were 1%. We should see the odds of a 50 basis point rate hike hit 50% soon. 26 days until the next Fed meeting. I'll leave you guys with that. Have a blessed and highly favored weekend. And check us out on AM 70 radio. I'm going to leave a link in the description today at 5 p.m. I'm going to be interviewed on radio. It'll be live on YouTube and Facebook as well. And I'll leave a link if you guys want to check that out. Have a blessed and highly favored weekend. Take care.